Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today I'm going to be reviewing for you. Yeah, I know I don't usually do reviews on camera, but you know why? It's because I'm reviewing a Lego kit. Specifically, if you'd looked at the title, you'll know that it is the Great Deku Tree 2-in-1 Lego kit, The Legend of Zelda themed. Obviously. Lego's PR company sent this over for review, thank you very much. And so I'm going to review it. That's kind of how this thing works. I also haven't written a script. This is all going to be off the top of my head. And stuff that I've considered in the past when building it. But anyway, that's more than enough waffling. Let's dive right into things. So, the Deku Tree. This is a 2-in-1 set, and as you can plainly see, what I have right here is the Breath of the Wild version, because you can do Breath of the Wild or Ocarina of Time, and they are two reasonably distinct sets, essentially, in one. It's a 2-in-1. But what's it like to build? My wife and I built it together and we had a great time, only a few little errors here and there. It was very straightforward, to be brutally honest, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, again, I'm an adult, but this is an 18+ set, which I think is more to justify it to adults buying it than it is to discourage children from asking for it, let's be honest. The kit contains 2,500 pieces, but because it's a 2-in-1, you won't be using all of them, and I did originally want to build both, primarily for the review, secondarily because I just wanted to build more Lego, but unfortunately, whilst it is a possibility, it's definitely a loose one, because you get to a certain point, it's the same up to a point, you get to a certain point just before you're starting to do the face of the Deku Tree, because the faces are distinct, a lot of it is distinct, and then you have to make a decision, and I sort of thought, well, we can build one and then build the other, and I can get footage of both. But there is no easy way to change from one to the other, and I'm not suggesting it should be a case of just snap a few bits off and stick some new bits on. You have to go backwards, but there's no instructions to do that. And whilst, yes, I could probably just follow the instructions backwards, I don't want to be accidentally ripping off too much Lego. That sort of thing is far too easy when you're trying to remove big chunks at a time, and I'm going to have to reuse a lot of the pieces, and so it would have been nice if there was some sort of even just rough idea of how to convert from one to the other. Maybe I'm asking a bit much. I'm out of the Lego loop. Am I asking too much? Oh, and something you may have clocked is that there's a part missing, the part with the Master Sword on it. It slots in here, and it's not secured in any meaningful way. It just literally slides in. And I know this isn't going to be moving around or anything like that, but it would have been good if there was just like an extra piece, an extra bit of foliage or two or something that would just pin those two pieces together. But there isn't. I mean, I've been using little Hestu here to pin them together, but I had to take him off for this because it's not on a flat surface at the moment, and he kept coming off. But aside from that, like, the structural nature of it is really solid. It's a great big chunky thing. I can just pick it up from this part and it's absolutely fine. He says tentatively. Haven't tested this yet. But it is a solid thing, sort of look at these legs. Okay, that leg is only... Okay, the legs aren't that solid. But, they don't need to be, and they're going at odd angles and stuff like that. Building it, I understand why they are the way they are. Oh yeah, there's also this bit, I keep forgetting about it. This is Link's treehouse from Ocarina of Time. This is unrelated, essentially. It's just kind of a little freebie. I can only assume they really wanted to get to that 2,500 piece limit, and they got there. Frankly, the cherry blossom alone is an incredible amount of pieces per sort of like clump of cherry blossom. It looks great though. It really looks great. It is a bit of a nuisance to build, but that's just because you're doing the same thing time and time again, and that's not always entertaining, but it's just the nature of the beast, isn't it? But the real joy of this kit, it's the little details. It's the little things here and there, and yes, there's all sorts of lovely little hidden bits at the back of the Great Deku Tree. Sometimes they're even well lit. Just little things like there's a little cooking pot at the back and a normal pot. Link's bed that's all been made up for Mr. Hero and stuff like that. There's Koroks, and that was basically the deciding factor between Ocarina of Time and Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild was the fact that this one had Koroks. Admittedly, I could have put Koroks in the Ocarina of Time one, but I want it to be accurate. There's loads of like little mushrooms at the back and stuff like that, and also there's this little lever at the back, and you sort of go, oh, what's that for? And then you take a closer look and you go, mum. Honestly, it's a small thing, but it makes such a difference. Moreover, they could have just made the mouth move, but the eyebrows moving as well. Now that's the icing on the cake. Furthermore, the plinth where the Master Sword and everything is, the Master Sword is just loose in there, which admittedly isn't canonically accurate, but it means that you can just pull it out, hold it aloft, and shout Bowstar and the champions of Galastrom. Which again, for me, is a bonus. Link's treehouse is a little crate at the back as well, with all sorts of lovely little goodies. Things like the Hylian shield, which obviously you can slap on one of the minifigs, we'll get onto those. You also got a hook shot, you've got bottles with potions in them and stuff like that. You got a little compass, which I don't get, I mean, I know you get compasses in, in dungeons and stuff, but it doesn't look like the compass we got. There's hidden things underneath these little side panels on the Deku tree as well, at least in the Breath of the Wild version. I can't speak for the Ocarina of Time one. I do know that there's a really cool feature of the Ocarina of Time one that I wasn't able to test out, and I'm really sad about that, but, it'll be a surprise for you if you get it and you decide to do that one. But the best little detail for me absolutely has to be Hestu. Not because of the way that he's built or anything like that, but when you're building the maracas, it tells you to do something very specific, and as a result... Okay. Shake it. The maracas make a little noise. They're actual maracas in the most sort of broad sense possible, but... Oh, they didn't need to do that. They didn't need to throw all the extra little bits in, but they have, and it is just so nice. It really makes the whole thing feel much more alive. I haven't even talked about the stuff on the top. There's another Korok up here, and there's an apple for some reason. I don't quite get that, but there's an apple there. A Korok. The Koroks are great. They're made of basically no pieces. And I think they're absolutely delightful. There's little, vines and stuff coming down. The trees are really kind of I don't know how to describe them, but they feel really full, the foliage feels really thick and dense. It's just a really, really nice little kit, and again, I haven't even talked about the minifigs. As you might expect, we get 3 flavors of Link and a Zelda. For contrast. Zelda usually has a Sheikah Slate, but at the moment that's hiding in the Deku tree because it told me to put the Sheikah Slate in Zelda's hand, and then it told me to take it out and put it somewhere else, which is a bit odd. But it does properly look like Zelda. At the moment I've got her with her eyes closed just because I wanted some variety, but you can pop her head off, twist it around, or rather pop her hair off, twist her head around, and then she looks just more sort of sullen. Nice little details. It really looks like Breath of the Wild Zelda despite just being a minifig. There's also the Breath of the Wild Link as well. He's got the Traveler's Sword at the moment, but you can, if you want, you can give him the Hylian shield from the back of the tree house, and you can also give him the Master Sword. It's up to you, it's a playset. You're designed to play with it. But he's got his Traveler's Sword and Traveler's Shield if you want to keep those in place, which is a nice touch. And again, yeah, he looks like Link. I don't know what else to say. The hair's good. And then on the Ocarina of Time side of things, we've got a young Link, which is basically exactly the same as the adult Link, except it's one of the shorter minifigs with just shorter legs but the same size torso, which still looks a bit odd to me. Adult Link has the Ocarina of Time, and you can give him the Master Sword as well. He's got the standard sword. There are no rules. You can do what you like. It's meant to be fun. Young Link has the Deku shield and the Kokiri sword, and I must admit, I find it weird how they hold shields. I think that's just a limitation of LEGO, though. I don't really think I can hold it against this particular set. One really nice little bit of attention to detail, though, and, again, you can change this how you like, but the way that it instructs you to build those, Breath of the Wild Link is right-handed, and Ocarina of Time Link is left-handed, as it was intended. That's the kind of attention to detail that really matters, and it's just really nice to see. They could easily have just made them both right-handed, and I don't think many people, I mean, I would have, but I don't think many people would have batted an eyelid. It's good. It's good. All in all, it's a really good set. I mean, it's not cheap at £250, but, LEGO is just expensive. You just have to accept that, I think. If you're going to get into LEGO, you accept that it's going to be expensive. It's kind of a luxury toy. And you could strip this down and do whatever you like with it. I wouldn't, but you could. I do just think it's a shame that there's no instructions on how to convert from one to the other. And I understand it's not going to be a straightforward process, but even so, if it wouldn't fit in the big paper manual, and it is thick, it is seriously thick, there's the Lego Builder app that tells you how to do all of this as well, and we used both so that we could both be building at the same time, and we weren't, straining over one set of instructions. And I found a way to prop it up using a stand, which probably isn't revolutionary, but to me it was. But I would really like to have been able to build both. And before anyone goes down to the comments, friend of the channel, Paul, has already said, well, that means you just got to buy another one. Which I don't think is the intent of LEGO. I think it's just a way to get to the 2,000 500 piece limit, to be brutally honest. And I do have 2 bags left over that I could do something with. I could build the sculpture. There's nothing saying I couldn't incorporate that in some way. That is the joy of Lego. But as the set describes it, there is no way to convert from one to the other easily. Maybe I should just have to work backwards through the instructions. If I were to give this set a score, I think I'd have to give it an 8 out of 10. It would be higher if there was a way to more easily convert, or at least instruct how to convert from one to the other. It's a bit of a shame, but it is still, despite that, a really bloody good set. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you achieve what you've been building up to all these years and hit that subscribe button. And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye. I hope that worked. I really hope that worked. Furthermore, the little plinth with the Master Sword and everything, the Master Sword is loose so you can pull it out and... Jesus. Lift that up. Yeah! Flora. I was about to say flora and fauna, but... Hang on. Flora is plants, yeah? And fauna is animals.
Yeah.
What are mushrooms?
Fungi.
Yep. Oh, I suppose.